live. We're there for you. ABC4 News at 10 starts now.
And welcome to the ABC4 News at 10 o'clock. I'm Emily Flores.
And I'm Glenn Mills. Thanks so much for joining us. An incredible coincidence may have saved a man's life. Unified Police saying the man who got caught in an avalanche is finally off the mountain tonight. ABC4's Courtney Johns live in Salt Lake County with more on what made this rescue so challenging. Courtney.
It really was, Glenn. We're over at Neff's Canyon, just a few miles from where this avalanche happened this morning. And while authorities were able to find him quickly, it took roughly 8 hours to get him off of that mountain. Because we have seen a few avalanches in this area, rescue crews say they had to be extremely careful getting him out. Originally, the Department of Public Safety used a helicopter, but the rope wasn't long enough. They ended up using a toboggan to get that man off the mountain. Authorities say that avalanche happened a little before 11 at Thomas Fork, but the skier wasn't alone for long. About 45 minutes later, an off-duty unified firefighter heard the man screaming.
The guy's the hero of the day. He saved this man's life, and had it not been for him, who knows what the outcome of this would have been. So we have a real hero out there that saved a life tonight.
We certainly do. Now, this 35-year-old skier was buried up to his chest and showing signs of hypothermia. Police say he has a broken femur and an arm injury. And this is the second avalanche rescue we have covered in the last 24 hours in the Wasatch area. And the avalanche forecast right now is listed as considerable avalanche danger. Reporting live in Salt Lake County, Courtney Johns, ABC4 News.
All right, and for a closer look at avalanche danger and a look at the forecast, let's head over to meteorologist Thomas Geboy and for Alana Brophy.
Thomas, what do we need to know tonight?
Yeah, like Courtney mentioned, we are looking at considerable avalanche danger in the backcountry. So as we go throughout the next couple of days with all the fresh snow that we have, it's going to be great to get up to the mountain, but stay in bounds, stay on the groomers. That's where you're going to want to be because we're likely going to be continuing with this elevated avalanche danger at least over the next couple of days, and there's plenty of fresh powder to enjoy inbounds and on those groomers. Alta 52 inches of snow thanks to the storm system. Meanwhile, Powder Mountain over 30 inches of snow. Canyon Village and Park City 27. So this storm system produced, but we do have a little bit more snow on the way, and it just seemed like for a while there the snow wasn't going to end. This was shared by Jason Woodland earlier today, where this morning in the Salt Lake Valley it just seemed like the snow kept on going and going, and at Salt Lake City International Airport, it snowed for 33.5 hours. But that's always a very pretty view, and when you're leading up to Christmas, it really doesn't get much better than that with the snowy conditions. But we do, like I mentioned, have a little bit more snow on the way. We got a little bit of a break later this afternoon and earlier this evening, but you can see a little bit of light snow moving in from the northwest. It's not going to be nonstop snow like we got used to over the last 72 hours, but by the time all is said and done by tomorrow afternoon, we could very well pick up another 2 to 4 inches of snow along the Wasatch Front, Tooele, and Rush valleys. And because of that, the National Weather Service has gone ahead and issued a winter weather advisory that will begin at 1 o'clock in the morning tonight and will last through 11 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. We could see some very slippery conditions for that early Thursday morning commute. So if you're already planning your Thursday morning commute, just make sure you build in extra time, as we could see some slippery conditions out there thanks to the snow in our mountains. We could also pick up maybe an additional 2 to 6 inches of snow and maybe getting upwards of 8 inches in a few spots. So the system is going to work its way through, bringing us a little bit of additional snow. But once this moves away, we're going to move into a calmer pattern, but even colder air is going to be working its way in. We'll break down all the details and we'll break down the timeline as well coming up in your forecast in just a few minutes. Glenn, Emily.
All right, thank you so much, Thomas. Well, with snow and ice expected through the morning commute yet again, state police calling on drivers to watch out for emergency crews responding to crashes. This after a string of law enforcement vehicles were hit while on the side of the road. And there you heard the crash. That video was from last week on I-215. A truck lost control and hit Corporal Quincy Brewer's car while he was inside of it. Today, Brewer talking about that crash.
Situations like that, they move quick. So I just wanted to make sure that the other people were okay first.
Corporal Brewer says he was shaken up after the crash and is still feeling some aches and pains, but nothing too serious, thankfully. He's asking drivers to move over for emergency vehicles and, of course, be extra cautious, especially when there's severe weather.
Law enforcement agencies around the state putting in hundreds of extra shifts this holiday season to stop impaired driving. 24 agencies will work to keep people under the influence of drugs and alcohol off of the streets. In particular, they're warning about the dangers of the impact of mixing alcohol and prescription meds before getting behind the wheel.
It's still illegal to drive impaired, whether you have a legal prescription or not. And then combining them with alcohol could potentially increase or even make worse the impairment effects of the drugs that you might be under a prescription of.
That patrols will be in place through New Year's Day.
And today marks a somber day for our nation. It's the 10th anniversary of the mass shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary in Connecticut. 20 students and 6 staff members were killed in the attack. President Biden renewing his call for a ban on assault-style weapons like the one used in that shooting. In Newtown, where the shooting took place, as the town has preferred quiet reflection. Here at home, though, a vigil tonight in Sandy to remember not just the lives lost in the Sandy Hook shooting, but all victims of gun violence.
And the Gun Violence Prevention Center of Utah says more than 400 Utahns were killed by gun violence in 2021. That's a 10-year high. Tonight's event, including music readings and a candle lighting, all representing a commitment to ending senseless tragedy. The board chair of the Gun Violence Prevention Center saying not enough has happened to prevent gun violence in the 10 years since Sandy Hook.
It's been that long, and in that time, 1 million people have been shot in this country. Over 400,000 people have died. 45,000 people a year are killed by firearms. That is unacceptable.
Tonight's event also including a dismantling of a gun. The parts will be sent to a company in Colorado to be turned into garden tools.
And changes in store for the Fleet Block in Salt Lake City. The block is the site of a number of murals that went up after George Floyd's death in 2020. Now, the murals including Utahns that have been harmed by police. The city has been working with families of those victims over the last year and a half as they work on development plans in the area and what it will look like in the future while honoring its current meaning.
The Fleet Block will undergo an evolution in the coming years, and that will advance the purpose of it, and the metrics and the goals that the council have helped us to create are all about advancing opportunity, specifically for our underrepresented residents.
$6 million in funding is going toward the redevelopment. Plans for the area include a public park. The city will use feedback from the family members of people depicted in the mural to finalize the plan.
A Salt Lake City woman is reflecting on her life 1 year after nearly losing it. Heather Von Boren lost both of her legs last December after she was hit by an out-of-control driver in a parking lot. Today, she received new prosthetics. She thanks her family and the medical team that has helped along the journey.
This is my life. I fully embrace it, and I embrace the community. And so I truly feel like I am a part of something big.
She says she forgives the man who hit her and has accepted this is how the rest of her life will be. Students at Redwood Elementary got a head start on Christmas tonight.
Yeah, Santa came by to help kick off the annual holiday gift-giving celebration. The Granite Education Foundation putting together Santa sacks to give to Redwood students. Now, they're filled with toys, clothing, school supplies, all for students in need. Families also received food kits for Christmas dinners.
Whether they celebrate Christmas or not, because we have so many families that come from so many different backgrounds, we just want them to come out and enjoy this season.
Katrina Gillespie is who you just heard from. Now, donations from USANA and the University of Utah and private donors also provided the students and families with plenty of goodies. And if you would like to help kids in need this Christmas, there's the jingle. We have an opportunity here at ABC4, but time is running out. The ABC4 News team is helping Toys for Tots gather donations to brighten up the holidays for children in need. You can drop off new and unwrapped toys or gifts for toddlers to teens up to 15 years of age to any Papa Murphy's location, or even bring it right here to the ABC4 News station, all until Sunday, December 18th.
Coming up next on ABC4 News at 10, the deadline looming for another government shutdown if Congress cannot reach a deal on a spending bill. Why lawmakers are at odds over how long that bill should fund the government.
And still ahead, severe weather continues to hit across the country. We will show you the destruction left behind by tornadoes in the southeast United States.
And Salt Lake City, night at night just doesn't get much better than that. Absolutely beautiful view of downtown Salt Lake City tonight, captured by Scott Taylor. But as we go through tonight into early tomorrow morning, we're going to have a chance of picking up a little bit more snow. We'll break down the details and the timeline coming up in your forecast in just a few minutes. We'll be right back.